After helping over 500 people start creating content online, there are 7 common pitfalls that I constantly see stopping people from ever posting anything online. And in this video, I'm going to not only reveal each of these 7 pitfalls, but I'm also going to provide you with actionable tips on how to overcome them so that you can start building a personal brand that you can then use to build a business based around your passions and interests. So pitfall number 1, you lack the focus to even create something. And the reason you can't focus can be broken down into many different reasons. But the key things that my students and myself struggle with is firstly, you're not creating during your fire times. And secondly, you don't know what to create. So let's break down each of these pitfalls. So firstly, your fire times are the time of the day where you are the most productive and when you have the least distractions in your life. So personally for me, my fire times are usually between 6 and 8 a.m. And this is the time where I'm not getting bombarded by emails or messages. And it's the time where everyone in my house is still asleep, allowing me to really lock in and get my deep focus work completed. That said, I know many people whose fire times are really late at night once everyone's gone to sleep. And at the end of the day, there is no right or wrong way to do this. And it's all about finding what works best for you. So with that said, once you've got an idea of when your fire times are, you now want to put your phone in another room, put on some noise cancelling headphones, and you want to set a timer for 30 minutes. And you're going to repeat this daily and work your way up to 60 and 90-minute time blocks. And a pro tip is to use an actual timer and not the timer on your phone or computer. So personally for me, I use this timer which I bought off Amazon, and it's honestly been one of the best productivity investments I've ever made. I also use a website called Brain FM to play music that's been scientifically proven to increase your focus. And I've left a link in the description below if you want to check them out. But now the next part of overcoming this focus to create content is having clarity around what you should even be doing during your fire times. So personally, how I like to do it is by preparing a to-do list the night before so that when I wake up and start working, I know exactly what tasks I should be working on. And what I recommend to my students who are just getting started with content is to dedicate each fire time session to just one part of the content creation process. So for example, on Monday, it could be just coming up with content ideas. Tuesday, it could be scripting. Wednesday, it's all about filming. And Thursday, it could be editing. And if you want to learn more about my workflow, I have a full in-depth training on my channel that breaks down how I created 100 videos in 100 days, which you can check out after this training. But now moving on to pitfall number 2, which is you have imposter syndrome. And this is where you feel like you're not qualified or good enough at something to create content about it. And something you need to understand is that imposter syndrome only happens when you're trying to be something that you're not. So the simple way to cure this is to only create content about stuff that you've actually done, experienced, or are currently doing. So for example, let's say you've just become a weight loss coach and you want to start creating content online, but you haven't worked with any clients yet. Instead of faking it and creating content acting like you're a seasoned trainer who's helped hundreds of people lose weight, you could instead create content documenting your journey to find your first client. So for example, this could be content like a day in the life vlog or a sit down tutorial talking about the game plan you're gonna follow to land your first client. And just by switching the messaging of your content from how to how I, this will ensure you're staying true to you while still creating valuable content for others to consume. And this segues perfectly into the next pitfall I see stopping people from creating content online, and that is you lack confidence. So this lack of confidence could be everything from your skills, talents, or even your story. Because you might be thinking, I haven't done anything that would be valuable to other people. And the thing is, this is a limiting belief because people believe they have to be an expert to teach something, when in reality, you only need to be a few steps ahead of someone to be qualified to teach something. And a framework I like to follow is the 1 to 10 scale, which is a reminder that any skill can be ranked on a scale from 1 to 10. So 1 being a total beginner and 10 being an expert. So it doesn't matter where your skills are on this scale. As long as there are people behind you, you're qualified to teach. So continuing on with the previous example of the person who just got a job as a weight loss coach. So even though they'd be seen as a beginner within the weight loss coaching industry, to someone who is thinking about becoming a weight loss coach, that same person who just got that job would be seen as a level 6 or 7 because they've already achieved that desired outcome. And something I've realized over the years is that it's sometimes even better to learn from someone who is just a few steps ahead of you. So for example, even though Jeff Bezos is one of the top businessmen on the planet, he's so far ahead in his career that most of the information he'd share would probably be too advanced for my current situation. Whereas if I learn from someone who has recently solved a problem that I'm facing in my business right now, the information they share will be a lot more useful and relevant. With that said, if you're still feeling like you have nothing of value to share with the world, I want you to run through a quick exercise called the Bridge the Gap framework. And basically, this is where you're going to ask yourself a bunch of questions to get a clearer understanding of the growth you've made in the last 1 to 3 years. And to help you with this, I have a free guide that you can download below. But now moving on to pitfall number 4, and that is you're caught in the comparison trap. And this is where we compare our lives, businesses, bodies, bank accounts, and basically every conceivable thing to someone else's. And the thing is, comparing yourself to another creator is the fastest way to dampen your creativity, make you feel miserable, and forget about all the progress you've made. But guess what? Everyone does it. And I'm not gonna lie to you and pretend that I never do it, or that there's a special hack to stop it. Because the truth is, it's going to happen. So instead of trying to convince you not to do it, I wanna give you a framework to follow. That way, when you do compare yourself to others, you can do it in a healthy and non-destructive way. And the secret is comparing yourself to the older version of someone else. So for example, the other day I was speaking to one of my students, and during our conversation, he said, "Takumi, I wish I was as focused and clear with my content as you are. You seem so sure of the direction you're moving into." And during the call, I didn't think much of it, but once the meeting ended, I began to reflect on his comment, and I began to notice that he was comparing himself, a beginner creator, to someone who had been creating content professionally for over 6 years. So basically, he was only seeing the version of me today. He hadn't seen all the years of me overthinking, doubting myself, and worrying about what other people thought of me. And this made me realize that it's not fair or realistic to compare your beginnings to someone else's middle. And a great example of this is Marcus Brown Lee, who is one of the top tech YouTubers with over 17 million subscribers. And the thing is, if you watch his videos now have the best lighting, best camera gear, best audio, and he seems so natural on camera. But if you go back and watch his first few videos, you'll see it wasn't always like that. So as you can see, he started with a simple product review using a blurry webcam and no editing. But through consistency and hard work, he's amassed over 17 million subscribers and has built a YouTube empire. So instead of getting down on yourself, why not compare yourself to the older version of your favorite creators? Because this is a much fairer comparison. And something you need to realize is that content creation is a skill. It takes time to develop, and the more you do it, the more effortless it becomes. And on platforms like YouTube, they make it really simple to go on a creator's channel and sort their videos from oldest to newest. But now moving on to the next pitfall stopping you from creating content online, and that is you don't know where you should create content. So to make this as easy as possible for you, I'm going to provide you with a simple question to answer, and then I'm going to give my recommendations depending on your answers. So firstly, do you want to create written content or video content? And to break this question down further, if you don't want to show your face and you want your ideas to be the main focus of your content, then writing on the internet may be better suited for you. But if you're open to being on camera and you want your content to be more visual and seen by more people, then creating video content will be better suited for you. Once you've answered the type of content you want to create, you now want to decide which platforms you should focus on. So if you're wanting to create text-based content, then the best platforms for you are X and LinkedIn for your short form pieces of content, and then Medium or your newsletter for your longer form content. If you're wanting to create video content, then you want to focus on Instagram or TikTok for your short form vertical videos, and then you want to create longer form videos on YouTube. Whichever style of content you decide to create, my personal recommendation is to focus on one short form platform and then one long form platform when you're just starting out. So personally for me, that is Instagram and YouTube. And you might be thinking that these platforms are too saturated or that you've missed the boat, but the reality is there are new creators going viral and building their online audiences every single day. So for example, my client Liz was able to gain over 10,000 followers on a brand new account in just 6 days. And this was without doing any cringy dances or running paid ads. So trust me, anything is possible when you start creating online. But now the next pitfall stopping you from creating content online is that you're a perfectionist. And this is one of the most common obstacles I see creators struggle with. And basically it's when you start the process of creating content, but then you never publish it online because in your mind, it's not good enough. And a saying that I got from the creator Dickie Bush that sums up the real issue you're facing is that you're not a perfectionist. Your ego is just scared of getting feedback. And the thing you need to understand is that the only way you'll ever get closer to create perfect content is by hitting publish and getting feedback. Because creating content alone in your room that no one ever sees will never help you grow. But look, I totally get it because this is something I personally struggled with for years, especially when it came to putting my face on camera. And even though this advice isn't as actionable as the other tips, the only thing that cured my perfectionism was by taking action and hitting publish. And a strategy that really helped me with this was by making a $100 bet with a friend to see who could post a video a day for the longest time frame. So this meant it didn't matter if the video was fully completed or not. A post had to go live every single day or I'd lose and I'd have to cough up $100. This challenge not only forced me to get over my perfectionism, but it also helped me find ways to streamline my workflow, which then led to me becoming a better content creator. And it also allowed me to skyrocket my online following. And just remember, done is always better than perfect. So just hit publish. But now that we've covered everything from how to overcome imposter syndrome, all the way to what platforms you should be creating content on, the last thing stopping you from creating content online is that you're not consistently creating. And this obstacle generally stems from three key things. So firstly, your workflow sucks. You don't know how to create content, so you end up procrastinating. And lastly, you have no accountability or support from others to create content. So let's break each of these things down. So firstly, to create content consistently for a long period of time, you need to have an optimized workflow. So for me, that is using tools and templates to speed up my creation workflow. And it's also batch creating all of my content so that I'm always ahead of my posting schedule. And again, if you're interested in learning how to properly batch create your content, I have a full in-depth training on my channel that you can check out after this video. Next, if you don't know how to properly create content, then every time you hit a roadblock in your creation process, you're gonna get distracted and start procrastinating instead of tackling this issue head on. And these days, there are so many free resources to learn how to create professional content online. So my recommendation is to pick a specific part of the content creation process that you're trying to get better at and then focus all your time and attention on that. So for example, if you want your videos to look more professional, you could learn more about lighting, composition, audio, and etc. And once you're feeling comfortable with that specific part of the process, you can then move on to the next part of the process. And lastly, if you have no accountability and support, I totally understand, because creating content on the internet is lonely. But the thing is, it doesn't have to be. And that's why I created the Consistent Creator Community, which is the go-to space where creators just like you can come together to learn, interact, and support each other to achieve their content creation goals. Within this community, you're not only going to learn how to consistently create professional looking content, but you'll also receive monthly tools and resources to help you do just that. So things like monthly scripting templates, carousel templates, a library of AI prompts designed to streamline your content workflow, in-depth video courses teaching you everything from the best camera settings and gear to use, all the way to viral editing secrets to skyrocket your views, and so much more. On top of the monthly tools, you'll also get access to live Q&A calls with myself, where I can personally answer your unique questions, content feedback sessions to ensure you're publishing the best content possible, monthly challenges to put your skills to the test and to win some awesome prizes, and most importantly, a community of like-minded people who are all working towards the same goals. Honestly, there's too much included to mention here, so if you want to learn more about the Consistent Creator Community, you can check out the top link in the description below. And as always, thank you for supporting the channel, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.